Hello, everybody, and welcome to Eat Art Space, the pop-up dining room gallery from a tiny town in Appalachia. I'm Jocelyn Mathewes. I'm your host. This is my home. This is my dining room, and behind me is artwork by Tony Henson, who is going to appear live with us tonight and talk a little bit about his work. I'm going to invite him up here, the stage, as they like to say, so that we can have a little chat. Tony, I just sent you the invite. So I'm looking forward to... There you are!
Hey, how's it going?
And here we have Tony Henson live from his studio, right?
That's right.
That's right. Tell everybody a little bit about where you are right now, what your setup is at the moment, and then we can go back into your art journey.
Okay. Well, I live in Kingsport, Tennessee with my wife, Jamie, and son, Adam, and we've been here 10 years, I guess, and it's a really good house. We call it the Tree House. Very secluded with a fire pit and a deck and lights outside. And of course, my favorite place in the whole house is my studio, obviously. And it's an L shape, and I have a big area to store paintings. And then I have my little corner over here where I paint. That I have about 4 or 5 pallets, a really big wooden storage place where I can also use to hang a painting and paint on there, and a couple of easels. So I've got a pretty good setup, and then there's a door to my left that goes out to the deck that overlooks Bays Mountain and Eastman. So I have a great view facing west because I love sunsets.
That's amazing. I've been to your space, and it's it is really a refuge from all the rest of your house. Now, you're based in East Tennessee in Kingsport in one of the Tri-Cities. And so I have no idea where our people in our audience are from. So that's like in the tiny little corner where like the mountains are. So if you're thinking like flat and hot, that's not what it is here. Hi, I see Brian in the audience, and anybody is welcome to ask Tony questions in the chat. So please drop things that you want to know about his work. You work in acrylic paint.
I do,
right?
Yeah.
And right behind me is one of like this is one of my favorites. I know that you know that. This is called Dangerously Close to Something Wonderful. So tell us how you got to, I'm going to step back here so people can see this. This is big. You like to work big. Like, is this small for you or is this big?
No, I kind of like 3x4, 4x6.
Okay.
It's kind of like the size. Like if I
and that's feet.
That is. Like I can't paint on anything probably less than, I think some of the pieces in your gallery is, the smallest is what, 12 by 24, 16 by 20, something like that?
Maybe like 20 by 20.
Yeah,
they're over here.
Really, really small for me. Like 3x4 and 4x6 is my size. And I've done probably 15 oil paintings, which isn't many compared to the 2,000 I've done in acrylic over 30 years, but I'm just too messy to do oil, and it's too expensive. But I love working with oil paint, though.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Now, you don't work with oil paint, but you have worked in the past.
Right, yeah.
Is that how you started?
Oh, no. I started with acrylic all through graduate school. I mean, all through undergrad at Western Kentucky. And then graduate school at ETSU, it was all acrylic. And then I just kind of like, okay, I've been doing acrylic for whatever, but that time was 20 years. And I just wanted to get some oil, but it's like, I get it everywhere. Like, it's like I probably have it on my shoes, on my clothes. I take a shower. I try to get through the house. It's in the kitchen, everywhere. So oil paint and me, it doesn't work. We don't get along.
So could you describe what brought you to painting in general? Like, what was your first experience with it? Did you do this as a kid? At what stage of life did you come to this medium?
Well, probably at age 2 or 3. I have an older brother. He's 10 years older than me, Todd. And I would sit at the kitchen table at 2 or 3 years old. My mom told me, I can't remember, but she told me I would sit there for 2 or 3 hours, 3 years old, watch him draw, like, which would be impossible now, right? Like, there's not a 3-year-old alive for hours to watch some. No, I didn't even do it. I just watched him draw. And then I started drawing, and I was really, really into Spider-Man and Marvel, X-Men, Avengers, Fantastic Four. And I would take crayons and just draw all over my bedroom probably 4 or 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Mom never got, like, she never got onto me for it. Like, she never really encouraged me into art, but she didn't, like, say, stop drawing on your walls. She would let me, like, for a few years, she would just paint over the walls, and I'd do it again. And I did that for a long time. And she told me when I was really young, my favorite candy was M&Ms, and I would rearrange them. Like, I would pair them up, like 2 colors here and 2 colors here and 2 colors there. So it's something I think that was very innate, liking bright colors, red and green goblin, purple and green, like just the color combination of Marvel and then also M&Ms. And I just love color. And I really didn't get into painting until I was in high school. And we had projects and just the way to create texture in space. And I know crayons and oil pastels and all that stuff, it is color. But there was something just kind of really, really free and loose and expressive with it to where you could create a thin wash or really thick texture in space where crayons and oil pastel and chalk pastels pretty much you can't. I mean, I can't anyway. But I just moved away from that, and that's all I did. I mean, I had printmaking classes and drawing classes at Western Kentucky, but I was obsessed with painting, and I would create 15 to 20 paintings a semester the 5 years I was there.
We have a question from the audience, which is, what is your favorite artwork that you've ever made?
Yeah, Natalie, she's my niece. That's a hard question, Natalie, because I've been painting for 30 years. It's always like I got an artist friend in Nashville, Bob Durham, and we always joke around about whatever the most current painting you're working on is like your best. Like, I haven't done anything that's better than what's behind you. Like,
come on.
I mean, no, since you hung the show, like, I haven't done anything that's better than that one yet. So that. But if you ask me 3 years,
well, then tell me what you like about this one. Then, like, tell me what makes this one special.
Well, a lot of it to me, like most artists, I'm process driven. So it was the process for me. And we've talked about that before at the opening, at the reception, that every brushstroke was magic. I mean, it was effortless. Like, and everything just worked and everything came together. And that doesn't happen often. I would say, me personally, I would say every 25 paintings, that happens to where it's magic, for lack of a better word. And it just kind of comes out and it feels like I didn't even paint that. And those are my favorite ones, the ones that I have to work on and their labor and just have to kind of go over, and then like I might not like it, so I'll restretch a canvas over it and paint over it. But the color, the texture of it, the emotion of it, the space, like I just absolutely love that one.
Yeah, it's a pretty rad painting. So do we have any other questions from the audience? Feel free to drop them in the chat. And by the way, all of these paintings are available for sale online at their website, which is, the link is in the bio. Tony would love for you to come and pick them up.
Oh, yeah.
We have a question. Tool, Alice in Chains, or Rage Against the Machine? Explain how you listen to music and the relationship it has to your work, in addition to answering that question.
My Milligan buddy, and he's bought a few from me, him and his wife. And and he knows this is a loaded question because he knows it's out. Machine I've listened to a few times painting, and Tool also, and I play bass or try to play bass, and Tool songs are almost impossible for me, but I know probably about 55 Alice in Chains on bass. But listening to music, I can just close my eyes, and like if I listen to Miles Davis right now and close my eyes, like it would probably be purple and orange, and I can just see color. And then when you're listening to music, my favorite band, Alice in Chains, and when you're listening to music, when I'm listening to music and I have all these quarts of acrylic paint, and I've got, or I used to have color swatches on the wall, and just the color and the music just meshes. It's really hard to explain. It just kind of comes together. I mean, I can lay down tonight and think of lavender and then orange and then turquoise and see it. But then I'm thinking, am I really seeing it, or is my brain tricking me thinking I'm actually seeing the color? But I definitely dream in color, and I can write down specifically what the objects, what color. Like if I'm dreaming and I see a sunflower, then a mountain, and then a sunset, I can wake up and write down the specific colors of what my dream was. So it's pretty cool.
So you've got this intense relationship to color and music. When you're listening to music, do you find that there's a specific aspect of that you're paying attention to? Because, you know, there are people who listen to music that they primarily listen for the lyrics, and some of it's the texture and the sound. And we also have like a what are your favorite colors to put on your paintings question. So we can talk about colors and we can talk about what you listen for.
It's more the mood and the emotion. Like, you know, being a Scorpio, and my son, wife will attest to it, is I have like 10 great traits and 10 horrible traits. And, I'm glad that they focus on the positive ones I have.
I'm going to swing around to some of your other paintings over here in the other room, by the way.
Emotional.
While you're talking.
Very energetic. Like I've got to be doing something. I just don't sit around. But it's more the emotion and the mood that a song, like the atmosphere of it. Like I don't really focus on the lyrics or the bass or the guitar or drums or anything. It's just the overall mood and the atmosphere, and that dictates. So if I'm listening to an Alice in Chains song that's really, really fast, then I'm going to paint fast. Then my playlist goes, and I've got many playlists. Then if it goes to a slower song, then it's going to slow it down. I'm probably going to sit back and look more instead of painting. So my favorite colors are purple, blue, and pink. But I've really been drawn to green, a lot of different values of green. And then red, orange recently. But
we've got some of the green here.
For a long time.
So do those colors, you know, you hear the music and you see the color. Do you associate with certain colors with different types of music?
I think so. And Kandinsky and Van Gogh had that. Like the lower keys on the piano is purple and dark blue. Then the higher keys are yellow and orange, and with jazz, I love Miles Davis. I listen to jazz a lot. Not necessarily when I'm painting, more like if I'm out, you know, if I'm out enjoying a cigar, then I'll listen to jazz and Coltrane and things like that. But if I'm painting, I've got a playlist where the first probably 8 or 10 songs are really, really fast, and it gets the painting going. And then after like 2 or 3 hours, then it's kind of like medium and then slower tempo. Takes the process of how I paint, because I start out, I don't know what I'm going to do at the beginning. I don't have any preconceived ideas or sketches or anything. So I start out and I think, okay, today purple and blue today, and that's just the start. Then it's going to change a lot.
Can you describe some of the experiences that you've had, you know, selling your work or people's reactions to your work when you explain those things to them? Maybe what people's impressions are, what their feedback is, because your process is so very intuitive and mechanical. Do you like to invite people into the studio to observe it, or is it something that you do primarily apart from people?
Yeah, like when I'm painting, it's pretty, for the most part, it's pretty intimate. I've painted in Johnson City during the reception at Dick Nelson's gallery. I've painted in Bristol during Rhythm and Roots. And I painted in front of you when you took about 100 photographs that were amazing. And that painting was awesome. I sold it to a lady in New Jersey. And I really liked that one when you came over and took photographs. I mean, it's okay. Like I painted at church, like at Celebration. I painted on stage there several times. And I've been doing it so long, I can just zone out. Like I could have 50 people in my studio and I could just work and I don't think and I just go there. But, you know, when I teach private lessons in my studio and other places, they're like, you know, how do you get the colors to not be muddy and dark and you keep them clean? And like I've been doing this a really long time. So I think I think I've got it down. I think I've got the process down in the direction of what I really love, which is the paintings in your gallery. Like I'm going to stay on that track for a while, I think. But it's very intuitive and instinctual, but I just kind of let it guide me. I don't try to force it or anything.
So you mentioned Rothko a little while back, who you have behind you. Do you have any other artist inspirations or influences that you would point to that you came across either independently or in your educational journey that you enjoy?
Mark Rothko, Gerhard Richter, and Joe Mitchell, they were all around 95 to 97, like when I was at Western Kentucky. And, of course, abstract expressionist artist, de Kooning. But Gerhard Richter, Mark Rothko, and Joe Mitchell, they're my three favorite. And I think you can see those three. If you're familiar with those three artists, you can definitely see the influence in my work. But it's about color and texture and space and expression. Like all of them are about that, and emotion too. But going back, I didn't answer that question about people's. Most of the time when people buy my work, it's just like a mood. Like they'll see it, and then it's just like instant. Like, oh, I've got to have that one. They don't ask me questions like, what were you thinking, or what were you feeling, or what's this about, or it's just a connection with that person when they come to my studio or they go to a gallery like you have, and like they see it, and it's just an emotional connection one-on-one, which I think when you work, it's very pure and raw. Like I think art, like painting, is probably, in my opinion, it's the highest form of art, because like music, you're not going into a studio and redoing it. Or if you're writing, like I write poetry, and I can change it, right? Like what the viewer sees, it's all there, right? Like there's no revision or anything. You're seeing the first color I put on and the last color I put on, and you're seeing the complete process. And I think that's like, to me, it's so pure and it's so rich. To me, it's the best thing. I'm looking at my current painting right now on the easel, and it's like,
can you are you comfortable flipping the camera around and showing us that current painting that you've got going on? Oh, look at that. Now that has less white space in it and more deliberate texture than I know that I've seen before in your work.
I can't hardly tell like what I'm doing on the.
That's okay. We've got a nice view of it.
But yeah, it's on. I've got it on my YouTube channel, and then it's on Instagram and stuff too, like the video.
So where can people go? Are you Tony Henson Art on YouTube as well?
Right. Yep. Tony Henson Art.
Awesome.
Instagram.
Well, we've got another question, which is, how do you decide what directions to put the paint on the canvas? Do you even think about that, or is it just automatic?
That's a really good question. Most of the time it's vertical and diagonal. And this one is it just happened to be mostly vertical orientation. And the one you like behind you, mostly vertical too.
I saw some horizontal strikes on this one, so I wanted to highlight that.
Like I love vertical and diagonal, because diagonal creates tension and movement, or something's about to move, and then vertical is like really, really strong. You know, you think of a person standing, or a tree, or a column. But yeah, I mean, there's a few horizontals, you know, depending on the orientation. I think the one that's on the easel that's 40 by 40 is 40 by 40 is pretty difficult format, because it's a square, and I like a rectangle. Like format, because
squares are hard,
and the square is a hard one, but usually that's just emotion. I don't really think about it, so it'd probably just be automatic. Like the first tool that I use most of the time is a really big palette knife, and I'll do that first, and then I'll use this big 4 or 5 inch house brush. And then towards the end of the painting, I'll use smaller brushes all the way down to like a really, really fine. So it'll be all the way down to like something like that, which is probably like all the way down to this, which is really, really small for me. But I like bigger brushes that's 3 or 4 inches or 5 inches, or big palette knives that are like this long.
What's interesting to me about listening to your process, and I always I feel like every time I talk to you, I learn something new, which is that your paintings are almost like, it's almost like frozen music because you talk about there being no revision. It's a moment in time. It's almost like a photograph, except a photograph, it's like a long exposure photograph where you like leave the shutter open for a long period of time and you just let everything soak in.
Yeah,
So
good. I like that. Frozen.
yeah.
Really cool. Feel
And I
that.
speak that as like I started out in photography, and so like I think in that way. But
Yeah, every place on the photographs at the same time, and then the painting. If it took me 4 hours or 2 months, then it's kind of time traveling because you can see 4 hours and 2 months or whatever it is. But it is, the great thing about painting is, and my friend Brian Rutenberg said that in New York, that like when you go to a museum and you see Van Gogh, you're standing exactly where he was when he painted it. And I really think about that. Like when I go to museums, we're going to San Francisco in July, and they have like 4 or 5 phenomenal Gerhard Richter, like big paintings. So I'm there for about 5 hours just looking at a few Gerhard Richters for hours. And it's like I'm standing where he was when he painted it, like you have that connection.
so you want to immerse yourself in the painting, and you also want to step into the shoes of the person who painted what you are looking at.
Right, at the same time. And I think Rothko does that the best because of the scale of his paintings. Most of them are 6 by 4 feet or 5 by 7 feet. And the colors and the shapes they're neither geometric or organic. They're kind of both. Like the big rectangles that he does, it's kind of geometric, but at the same time organic, but you just want to go into it. Like you just want to fall into Rothko, and then the shapes go in and out, and it looks like it's breathing. And you're standing where Rothko did when he painted them, but also you just want to go into it.
What do you hope for your viewers the most? Like, is there something specific that you want them to feel, or is this just something that does it become an object then? Is it a record of something? I'm throwing things out there.
Yeah, I look at it as a visual diary because I know, like, I can look at paintings throughout the years and kind of know if something is really important. Like this one was painted like after my brother passed away, or after my mom passed away, or my son was born, or anniversary. Like Jamie and I's first anniversary. I've got a painting back there. It's just right over there. I can see it, and I painted that a week after our first anniversary. So I can look at these paintings, and I don't have to look at the title or the date or anything. I can look at them like, oh, this happened in my life. The visual diaries, but I want people, when they stand in front of my work, is to get an emotion. And obviously, it's not going to be a universal emotion like Rothko wanted. Like, I think that's absurd. Like, somebody's going to stand in front of my painting, there's no way they're going to feel like I did when I painted it, right? Like, that's after. But that's such a lofty notion, like, for somebody to stand in front of his paintings and weep like he did when he painted it. But if I just want someone, when they're standing in front of it, to just feel. Like, don't ask me what I'm thinking when I painted it, because I'm not thinking anything, I'm painting. And we've talked about that a lot. So I want you to get the color, the texture, the movement, the space, and feel something. And that's whatever it is, right? But we're human beings, and art is what makes us human. Like, it's that's the great thing about it. And we can kind of share, like, what I was feeling, and then you stand in front of it, and then you participate on what you feel.
That's a wonderful. So art is a point of connection for you with a viewer who may or may not be standing next to you.
Right. Yeah.
Well, this is so exciting, and I have to say that it's been an honor and a privilege to have your work in my space.
Thank
and
you.
I'm very excited that you sold a few pieces, and I'm hoping that people are going to come by next Thursday to the open house and just stop by and come take a look at the work and maybe take a piece home, because the show comes down at the end of the month, and then you'll have to find a place to put all these paintings. Are they going to go somewhere else? What's next?
I've got a show June 1st. I think the reception's June the 4th at Arts Depot in Abingdon. So it's a member show. It's me and 3 other artists. So I don't know exactly how many paintings I'll have there. If it's just a few, they're going to be bigger pieces, because I think my bigger pieces are the strongest, and I love working large. So if I just have room for 2 4x6, then that's what I'll have. But I'm excited about showing again in Abingdon, and we'll see what happens. So,
well, and of course, if anybody wants to hit you up and see more of your work, they can follow you on Instagram, or they can just message you and be like, show me some paintings, because you've got a ton.
Yeah, I do tours here and private painting lessons. It's like, I think I charge $25 an hour, and I do private painting lessons here in the summer. And then I've got probably 140 paintings in my studio. So anytime somebody wants to come over, I'm definitely open for that.
Oh, we have the commenter saying, we can't wait to bring our next piece home. And I know which one it is.
Yeah, I like that. Travis.
No, very, very excited. Well, are there any other shout outs that you want to give to other people who supported your work, collectors, or any other artists that you want to lift up right now?
Obviously you.
People say that, but I need to just tell them not to do that. So anyway.
Well, I've got several. I've got, first my wife, because I think the success of an artist is marrying the right person. I really believe that. And like the half of, when COVID was really, really bad, I think I sold $10,000 or $12,000, and Jamie was really supportive. Adam, my friends, Robin and Randy Fairman in Charlotte, they bought a few, and Jamie Aerosmith in Kingsport that works at Eastman, she's bought several. Domini and Madeline and Sachin in New Jersey. Like, I've got collectors, locally, then Charlotte, Atlanta, and New Jersey, and I'm just really blessed and fortunate to, I'm creating something that I love with my hands, and somebody wants to buy it. And it, honestly, it blows my mind, because you have Artsy, you have Etsy, you have all these galleries, you've got, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of artists, right? So, somebody's going to choose to buy my painting.
It's a big deal.
It really blows my mind. Out of all the artwork that's going on, right? All the artwork that's created, somebody's willing to buy mine. So it really makes a difference, I think, when you're able to show and you're able to sell, and it gives you the confidence. I would paint regardless. If I've never sold another painting, I want to paint until I'm dead. I'll never stop doing this thing that I love. But to have somebody buy something that you just poured your emotion into, it's like a poem, or a frozen song, frozen music. That's really cool, and it's just it shows that if it's true, and if it comes from your gut and comes from your heart, and it's something you really are honest and true about, then you're going to get your work out there and be successful. And my definition of success is to continue to do this thing that I love. So I'm successful because I paint all the time.
And I'm so glad that you do, because then I get to look at this and share it with people, because it was a really good time. Well, I thank you so much for your time this evening. I know that you are a busy person, just like everybody else in the world. And thank you to our audience who was able to watch this evening. We'll reshare this talk, and I hope to see people next Thursday from 6 to 8. You can stop by anytime. It's just like an open house. DM me for directions if you need to figure out how to get here. We'll have some light refreshments. And if you want to hit up Tony, just send him a message on Instagram or track him down elsewhere. So TonyHensonArt.com as well, right?
Yeah, TonyHensonArt.com. Yeah, and I'll be there too next Thursday.
Oh, wonderful. wonderful. It'll be nice to have you. I have no idea how many people are going to come, but
Yeah.
at least one will. So yay. All right. Well, looking forward to seeing you next Thursday.
Keep doing your thing. You're really difference. The reception was amazing. That was like one of the best I've ever had.
Oh, well, no, it was such a good time. And so if anybody else is watching this now or later, you better make sure you get here next time, because I'm planning the food for the next one. And we have a couple more artists coming in, but that's not opening until a couple weeks into June. So I don't have the dates off the top of my head because I've been planning things, and so all the dates are scrambled in my brain right now.
That's great.
But I have yours. I have your open house, and look forward to seeing you there, and whoever else you want to bring along. So
sure, yeah, sounds good.
All right, bye for now, everybody, and have a lovely evening. Remember, this is Eat Art Space in Johnson City, Tennessee. We are Appalachian artists, and we make really good work, especially Tony.
That's right.
Talk to you later.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Appreciate it.